So for sprint 4, we had to uh, do the division up of the collision. Uh, First, I went back and I finished sprint 3 because I was really behind on that stuff. So my OBB versus OBB works now. I'll show you that really quick. As well as the OBB versus ABB. Then there's the division as well. So when they're not colliding, nothing's happening. When the two ABBs of the group start colliding, then it's checking the bounding spheres of the second group against the first group's ABB. And then when those start colliding, it checks the with the spheres inside the second ABB versus that sphere. Since there's only one, it's always going to turn blue. And then there's the collision when the spheres are colliding and their respective boxes are colliding. And this is also OBB versus OBB collision, which works. And then I've got versus ABB collision with OABB, also works. And then last one is bounding sphere, which, I mean, there's already bounding sphere, so I guess that one's kind of pointless. Also in here, I've got my collision between self-collision. So as you can see, there's the two that are colliding with themselves, and then the other two that are close. If those are ABBs, they overlap, which is why I put those there. But since the spheres aren't colliding, they aren't considered colliding. So that works for that. So I believe that's everything for sprint 3 and then 4. So I got my OBB collision working with all the different ones, and then I've got my division of the different collidings working. So then the next stuff would be the research project. So for the project, I'm doing the Connect stuff. What I started working on was I've got it separated from my engine just because I wasn't sure it was gonna mess with my stuff. So I've got a separate thing here that uses these to basically get the data of your body position, and then I realized that the gesture builder from the Connect Studio thing is for Windows 8 applications, like it's a beta thing, so that doesn't work with Visual Studios. So I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way, which I found is you can get the you can display that set to a window size, and then you get the X and the Y of that. So for example, right now I kind of have like a wave thing. So let me just up. So I have the Connect behind me, but it finds the sensor, and then when I raise my right, which is actually my left hand, because I'm facing towards the screen, it switches when my hand gets to the left side of my elbow and the right side of my elbow, and then when my hand's down, nothing's happening. So I can use this to have a check for like maybe a wave gesture, so that when it goes like right, left, then that would register as a gesture. So that's kind of the data that I can get out of it for things that I feel like I need to do for the project, things that I'm planning on doing. I want to make multiple gestures for the user to use. I want to have the ability to have different types of gestures, like stable and then like use gestures. So like a stable gesture would be like kind of just like sitting like this for like a certain amount of time, and then having like the time tick by, instead of something like waving your hand and then that just being like, well, that gesture just happened, then that just goes through immediately instead of waiting. And then addition to that, I need to attach the Connect. Right now it's in its own loop, so I need to attach that to the games loop for updating. I need to make some kind of like registration pattern using the command pattern to register the different gestures. and then I want to be able to use those with multiple people so that I can that needs to keep track of who did it with and what gesture, and then needs to give that information to the user respectively. I also want to create some kind of visualizing tool because right now I'm just using the SDK tool that comes with the SDK. It just allows me to see some like 3D and 2D stuff. But this obviously it would not be sent with the engine, so I want to create something the user would have. And then also something that maybe just shows like a visual picture of what's happening, like a camera, so that they can use that in their actual game, like as a viewport, so the user can see themselves, or like for gameplay uses. So yeah, that's kind of my plan. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for Sprint 4 as well.